Hello, hello. Gotten a bunch of news the past week, especially, between yesterday and Friday, and mostly yesterday, yeah. Mostly pertaining to local stores. Oh, there's some last Wednesday too. Yeah, a lot of stuff. A lot of it's for local organized play, which is good. Because, we've got the one regional coming up this weekend, and then it's kind of just going to be a string of local stuff and events and pre-releases and things like that heading into nationals. So yeah, we'll just get into it. The first thing to cover is the Plus Ultra Kit distribution that we talked about last time. They have given that an update. This isn't as widespread because it's not as controversial, so to say, so the email's not quite flying around. But it did go out. We did hear about some stores getting it. Essentially, as expected, the amount of free kits they're going to give away is increased by basically by 1 for each level, which makes sense. And they also added a level for 4 to 16. So if you have 4 to 16 players, you'll get a kit. If you're 16 to 32, you'll get 2 free kits. 32 to 64 is 3 free kits, and so on. And they set it up this way because they want to change the guidance on the little sheet they send to say that they recommend giving out at least 2 packs per player. Because one's not... There are stores that gave out 1, but it wasn't exactly a motivating factor for a lot of players, unless they were really, really starved for these promos, and they're available on redemption now, so that shouldn't really be the case. So yeah, now stores should be giving out 2+ packs per player once this new program gets rolling, and in addition, if they want to, they'll be able to buy more kits up to whatever the original allotment is as a cap. So if you were a store that normally gets 3 free kits, you can buy up to 3 paid kits if you really want to, let the kits flow at your events and whatnot. I don't recall that we still have hints floating out there that they might also send kits with, things like pre-release kits or whatever. I don't recall that being specified in the email. I haven't seen it directly. I don't exactly have it in front of me or anything like that, but... Speaking of which, these free kits, for stores that already have distribution set up for the game, they'll be able to get the free kits from their distributors now, instead of Jasco doing literally all of it. Jasco's still going to do the paid kits so that they get control over that, and any new stores that come along, Jasco's going to hook them up directly so that they don't need to worry about, getting things set up with their distributor just to get prize support. So, all in all, pretty good. Should be a fairly good change. Stores pretty much across the board should have an easier time getting kits, should feel better about getting more kits, about giving out more packs, so don't necessarily need to factor in, the costs of the kits, give or take. I don't know if they'll have to pay for shipping or whatever, but that should be good once the Season 3 Plus Ultra kits get underway. The other big news is that the schedule for the in-store provisionals was posted. And it looks like they did go ahead and go a little bit beyond the 50 cap for North America. I didn't try to count all of them, but pretty sure there's more than 50. So, that's nice. It sounds like I haven't heard of a store that applied getting turned down or not being on the list. I'm sure there could be some, but it seems like most of the stores that applied did go ahead and get a provisional assigned to them. I'll put the link to that schedule in the description. It's sorted by date and then by alphabetical, I believe. So you might have to Control F for your state or something like that. We also finally got a date for online nationals. It is going to be November 19th and 20th. That is the weekend after the in-person nationals. I might have... Nope, those are the right days. 19 and 20, yes. Along with this email, they also probably typoed the dates for the in-person one as only being a 2-day event, but it is... Jasco people in the Discord have said that, no, they do expect that it's a 3-day event, but, that there's a bunch of people at Jasco, and sometimes some people don't know what the other people are planning, so they didn't want to 100% guarantee it, but everyone who said anything about it said that they're pretty sure that that's just a typo, and that they fixed such a typo like that on Facebook. But in any event, the online one is going to be 1 week later, so if you miss the top 8 in person, you can circle back and play in a webcam event to try to get in the top 4 spots of that to try and qualify for the Hero League Championship. On a separate note, we found out that there does exist a store finder besides the... I forget exactly how the one on the website itself works, but there's a store finder on the Ugn app that is apparently a little more complete, or at least a little more usable. So if you go into the Ugn app, in the footer down at the bottom of the page, one of the links there will say store finder. And if you go into that, you actually get to do a little mile radius search around you. So you get to, you know, say I'm in Rochester, I can search for stores within 100 miles, right? That sort of thing is set up. Now, it doesn't look like every store is on there. I've heard that stores need to fill out their store information in the app all the way to get shown on the store finder. Like, there's a checkbox that you have to hit that says I'm a store. There's some stuff about distributors in there. So if your store's not on there, but they are on the Ugn app and they're running events, then, you know, badger them or whoever manages it to fill out that information, and they should, in theory, show up on that store finder. And hopefully in the future, Jasco makes that a little more prominent, because it's kind of more useful to have it in the Ugn app where people are going to be in there all the time, right? So if that were, you know, up in the header nav or somewhere else where people were more likely to see it, that'd be a pretty good way for people to be able to find some stores. A couple other smaller notes. One cool thing that was mentioned in the Discord was that the XR foiling on Heroes Clash, not just the number of full arts, but the foiling itself should be improved. They said there's going to be a much wider variety of patterns, that it won't necessarily be like the first two sets where everything that wasn't an ultra rare pretty much just got some sort of a dot circle pattern on it that you've probably all seen. So maybe cards, you know, normal rares especially, were sort of awkward because they were already foil, and then their XR is foil, but with these dots that you don't even barely see. So I'm just looking at some normals. Some Freezer might be a card where the extra rare looks a little more substantially different than the normal version, and maybe better, depending on how they went and did the foiling pattern on that. So that'll be cool to check out. We'll see what that means. I think Free, or whoever was talking about it initially, almost said that they would each have a unique pattern, but there's like, nah, there's probably some repeats in there, but there should be a lot of different patterns from what it sounds like. And the other quick note, the promo shipments, as of last week, that would be stuff that's owed for webcam events, stuff that's owed for redemption through, I think, the last week of September, like September 24th or something like that. Anything that they still owed from any provisionals or whatever should all have been set out and caught up ahead of, you know, a bunch of Jasco employees are going to the Comic-Con this weekend and are otherwise out and about. So I'm sure they're going to fall a little bit behind again if any of those people were involved in shipping stuff out. But as of about a week ago now, that should all be caught up ahead of, you know, a lot of people are going to have redemption orders for when the set 3 promos go up, I'm sure. And that should be everything for this past week. So lots of local news. We did get an announcement of an announcement today with no real indication as to what it could possibly be about. They made it sound like that was going to hit, you know, whatever they were going to announce was going to come today. That didn't happen, so who knows what that's about. I'm sure we'll find out tomorrow or the next day or something like that. So keep an eye out for that. And until next time, have a good night.